Hello, and welcome back to another episode of A to Z, you guys.
Hey George.
I'm oh, hey, George is here.
George, we're
My name
banking
is
because we don't have a schedule. We're just banking a bunch. Sorry, we're just
no,
banking a bunch.
it's fine. I was just doing the intro, but you want to explain the joy, the behind the scenes, like okay, it's fine, it's fine. I'm teasing. Go ahead.
Just don't fuck up my coffee time. All right, go ahead, Zero. Do your intro.
Okay, all right. What was I saying? I gotta clap again because that's how I remember. Okay, ready? And hey, welcome back to another episode of A to Z, you guys. For those of you who don't know, I'm Zero Simpson. Below me to my right is the guy, Aaron Chase, and we are the hosts of this podcast. On this podcast, me and Aaron have two very similar and yet very different mindsets about things. Like, usually our brains work in separate ways, but eventually come around to the same conclusion. My side coming from the light, the airy-fairy, the naive, the rainbow-colored glasses, and his being realism, pessimism, experience within the world. And somewhere in between the two of us, I try to make him more positive. He tries to make me more realistic. And somewhere in there is some great stuff, whether it be intellectual mind things or comedy, and because we're both stand-up comedians, it does that. The podcast is called A to Z. He's your resident yin. I'm your resident yang. And today we're talking about, I have no idea. Right now we don't have anything necessarily on the docket, but Aaron said he has a positive that stems from a negative. So we'll start
Yeah,
there.
yeah. All right. So I had a bad dream last night.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
It was hard. And
What was it? Are you going to say what the dream was?
yeah, it's not. I mean, I'll try to make as much sense as make it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was one of those like wacky scary dreams? It wasn't like a realistic thing.
It was realistic, but there are just points that are like, and then we're eating candy canes for some reason, but so I'm gonna ignore that stuff. Basically,
Okay.
I moved into my old house, which is in Riverside, but
I was about to make a joke. I have to say it because like my timing was off. My brain wanted to go like, and you had a nightmare, and then he said, "Yeah, okay." So I had a dream, and I was like, "That white and black people got along. It's the worst." Like, okay, but go ahead.
so I was moved into my old house that was for whatever reason in fucking San Francisco. I don't know why. And I moved in.
Was
Yeah,
this
I
one
moved.
of those? Was this one of those? The dream gives you all the information in your head, but there's not like a sign that says you're in San Francisco.
Yeah, you
It's
just
just
know
like
intuitively, like, oh, like there's a lot of gay people around. You just could feel.
you can feel it in the air.
Yeah.
So that's one of
Um.
the weird things about dreams. I'm gonna let you finish telling the story after this last insert. But one of the weirder, crazier, I love things about dreams, but it's also really scary because it's that Spider-Man Far From Home Mysterio thing where it's like, where's your reality? What is it? When your brain can just give you all the information of what your life is in an instant, and then you're still you somewhere within there, but you're operating under these new rules that your life is. And
Yeah.
that you're just decided you're in San Francisco now. You just live here, and like, okay, I guess I gotta move forward with that information and everything that you know. Like, it's not only that it gives you that information, it's just that you accept it. That like
Yeah.
you're not like, no, I was living back there, and like, no, that's my life. It's like you don't even remember or like care. You're just in this new reality, and that's one of those like, what are we? But okay, go ahead. I'm
We're
done
dust.
interrupting.
We're dust in the wind, Zero.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I haven't been smoking. You know that, right?
Oh, sure.
So, okay. Well, so that's why I've been having dreams. Um. So I move over to this house, and I move in with my cousin who lives in Maryland, and and he's living with my grandma. So it was like
Okay.
reverse.
So you're both living in San Francisco, and this is your
No,
cousin from Maryland.
no, my cousin in the real world, assuming this is the real world,
Okay,
is
assuming.
in Maryland. But he
Okay.
just happened in the dream. He was already there.
Okay. Okay.
So I move in with him and my grandma, who he was living with. It was like a reverse, you know what I mean?
Got it.
And we're there. We're trying to catch up. We're trying to be like, you know, chit chat or whatever. And because it was my old house, like I have all of these feelings of not nostalgia but memories.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to tell him like, yeah, man, I'm having all of these weird like feelings because it's my old house. I'm trying to talk to him about it, but my grandma keeps coming in, and like, you know, when old people come around and it's like, let's act like we're talking about celery sticks or whatever.
Right.
And so she would come in and then she would leave, and she would come in, she would leave, and it was really like frustrating. And then we were finally getting to a point where we could like really sit down and talk. And she comes in again and she's like gonna watch TV, and it was really frustrating. Then she gives me the remote and she says, "Can you change the channel from the Rugrats?" And so I go to do that, and then this is the dream part of things. I'm gonna use the word seizure because I don't.
Describe what happened.
Yeah, essentially that. And I woke up, just my heart was pumping. It was terrible. And
Wait, in the dream you woke up, or in
no,
real life?
I woke up from after that point. I think I had enough adrenaline that made me wake up.
After your grandma told you to change the channel to
No,
the
after she had a seizure.
Oh, okay. You said there was I don't know how to describe it, and then you said
Oh, I just leaped.
You didn't
Yeah.
tell me who had the seizure or what.
Right.
I
So
was like, what?
so that happened, and I woke up like obviously like I just had this adrenaline rush, and I woke up, and so that was a terrible feeling. I'm gonna say the negatives, then I'm gonna say the positive, Zero.
I think the big negative is that you almost lost your grandma in a dream. So
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, but
Well, the negatives being that like clearly, I think I've talked to you about this. Clearly, like that. I don't think that's a hard dream to interpret.
yeah,
So, and I've been consciously thinking about this over and over again. And the same thing with my mom and the Headlights music video. It's the same thing going over and over again. But the positive was I'm starting to understand now, like when I wake up, like that was a dream, and I try to do that like immediately, and I was able to calm myself down. And then and I was talking with a friend, and she was like, you know, one of the things that I always think about when Waffle, what's up?
nah, never mind. Doing a bit, but then I realized the bit doesn't work here. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. So then my friend was like, you know, because my instinct is to reach out. And my friend was like, you know, nobody gives a fuck. And I was like, yeah, nobody gives a fuck. And so I took a second and I was like, nobody gives a fuck. And so I just left it at that. Is that a positive? Is that my version of a positive?
I guess you could. There are positives in it. It's that thing where it's like it goes so far to the negative that it ends up positive, much like going too far to the positive becomes negative. So if you like go down the rabbit hole of looking into like utopia, right? If you get to the edge of utopia, you turn into a dictator who feels like only certain people get to live, because in a world where you're like, everybody has to be this in order for us all to get along. It's like that ultimate, like, I can't stop smiling happiness, where it's like, oh, you're unhinged. In the same way, this is such a wholehearted negative. It's like nobody cares, gives you a sense of freedom where you can feel okay and be happy and not worry about the pressures of whatever that is. And again, if you were a different person, I would say like if you didn't talk to your family and then you had a dream like that and then you're like, yeah, it'll be fine, I won't talk to them. Because I have the opposite thing. I have the thing where I have a hard time reaching out. And I've learned that a lot of people do care. Like a lot of people get hurt by that because they think I don't think of them or that I don't care at all.
I have a question about this, Zero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand people because in my head, my instinct is always like, look, other people are living their lives, they're doing their things, they're going through stuff. So reaching out makes perfect sense to me. I reach out to people Did you ever watch that reality show called Utopia UT? It was a complete fail. Lol.
I never saw it because probably it was a complete fail.
It's chicken and the egg. But I reach out I think to people that know me, they know that I reach out a lot consistently.
Yeah.
I'm always checking in on people because I'm very acutely aware, like everyone, especially right now. This is how this podcast started from this. Like our interaction started from like, this shit's crazy. I should reach out to people.
Right.
I think I seem to be the opposite of the rule. What is that? The
Antithesis?
Antithesis of the rule. I don't seem to be the normal one for reaching out. And
yeah.
I don't understand with people.
Well, I think it's person to person. Again, it's like everybody's special, but nobody is. Where it's like that thing where like you're a certain type, you're a reach out type, so you do reach out. There are people I would say like sexuality, it's a spectrum where like there are people who are very much reach outy and very check in. My cousin is like that with our family. She's very reach outy. She's very making sure everybody's good and checking in even when she doesn't want to. I'm on the other end where I'm like, I believe you're living your life. And in the opposite of what you're saying, where it's like, I believe you're living your life. And if it's going bad, then you'll say something. I believe that like you're doing what I'm doing. Like you're doing what I'm doing. I'm chill and I don't want to do that to anybody unless I need to do that to somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I'm starting to realize more and more that people aren't chill. They're not okay. And everyone. I think that's why I do this thing when I perform, where I'm like, by the way, last night, had fun.
That's good.
I'm glad you had fun. I'm gonna send you my set. I want to know what you think about it later.
Okay.
But that's why I think
the Beltrans thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I think that I have this inclination to not be funny when I perform and to just be real because I'm so irritated with the fakeness that we're all acting like shits. Like pre-COVID, maybe I'm being a little exaggerated or overdramatic. Post-COVID, the more I'm on the street and the more I talk to people, the more I'm like, oh, everybody is really feeling this pressure. And nobody's like, I'm feeling this pressure. Everyone keeps putting this fucking smile on, and it's like, this shit is not a game. Like, we're really getting fucked right now.
Right, but it's the meta issue of like, yes, that's the problem. And the problem is subjective. It's that thing of like, one of the reasons that, or at least I can only speak for me, but you could tell me if this resonates. One of the reasons you do comedy is to alleviate some of that. To give people an escape, to give people a break from it, because they're not. That's the thing. The doing the fakeness isn't not dealing with it. The fakeness is just, it's helping you get through, because if you let yourself feel that, like in a moment. Like, it's fine to let it out sometimes. Obviously, don't push it down forever, because it's going to come out regardless of what you do. No matter what you do, that's coming out. So it's kind of I think it's just like little ways to help us through. Like, this is helping us survive, not like this is what we need to do to make it. I think people see it as a thing of like, I'm doing this to convince you that I'm okay. But it's like, I'm doing this to help me be okay. Because if I come at you and was all my real, if all of us were all the real all the time, then we'd be a freaking downer nation. We'd be like
me.
And then where would we go? Because that's the thing, is like, there are people like you who've been living in that world for long enough that you know how to. Even that, I would say, like, you're working on it now. You're learning how to be fun, and it's not because like you can't take look, part of it is you can only take so much real before it starts to break you.
Yeah.
And so it's like, people have to do that in order to not break. And you're a stronger one than others in the way that, like, you've been dealing with it your whole life. So you kind of understand it and you've had the time to deal with it. For some people, this is a first of that level of intense sadness to deal with. And so if you ask them to, like, really take it in, hey, sit down and look at how trash your life is and the world is and the government and how bad things are and disease and racism, like, look at it for real. If you ask that of people, they might break. And then, like we need everybody to, like, at least stay relatively here with us.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'll understand the annoyance, though. I get it, because it doesn't help either. Because it's
right.
like, am I crazy? I'm not crazy. You guys need help. But so I get it.
It's yeah. Well, with the having fun thing, when you hear my set, you'll know what I mean. I was proud of it because I was staying true to myself. Like,
Okay.
I was the things I was talking about. I was talking about suicide. I was talking about the dad stuff. I was talking about depression and all that stuff, being poor, like losing my job, all of that stuff. But I was presenting it with charisma and entertainment.
All right.
And you could feel the audience feel like it was shaky in that you could feel that, like, oh, this is intense. There's something about this that's intense, but they can still go along with it because I am performing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm finding a balance in that as a performer. But when I'm talking about it, I mean on the day-to-day things, like the street performing. The amount of people, the amount of people that have fucking cried in front of me, I cannot, you would be blown away, openly weeping in front of me on the street, because I'm just like, this is really bad. Am I right, guys? And it's the first time anyone around them has been like, this is really bad. And acknowledging it seems like. And I don't understand that. Maybe it is because I've just been living in the shit my entire life.
Right.
I don't know.
And I mean, if anything, that's to my point. Is like, you're the one, you're the guy. Like, to me, that's a good. It is a good thing in a certain way. So it's our positive negative, right? I'm gonna start in the negative and then I'll talk about it in the positive, because it's better to leave on a good note than a bad note.
I agree.
On the negative, right? The way you can look at it is like, imagine somebody. I'm gonna use relationships because it's the easiest way to hit people. It's like, imagine somebody, close friend, random stranger, whatever, got cheated on, right? And they just fresh got cheated on, and they're dealing with it. Like, they're dealing with even deciding to break up with that person, stay with that person, everything. They're still making a lot of decisions. They're still very much in the, I got cheated on, I realized it, all this stuff. And then you come up to them and you go, hey, you got cheated on. That's really sad. Like, that's the thing. It's really messed up that they did that to you. Like, how could they do that? They said they loved you. That's insane that they slept with somebody. And that's like the one thing you don't do in a relationship. Like, personally, I've been cheated on before, and, like, it sucks, man. It's really bad. It's like, yeah, they might start crying, Aaron. Yeah, they might go through some stuff. That might be. Well,
Hold on.
It is like, they do need, like, there is a certain level of, so let's get to the positive, right?
Yeah.
Giving people that space is good in another regard, because, like, it is that thing of getting cheated on where you need somebody to recognize that, like, hey, and am I crazy? They told me they loved me and they did this thing to me. I need to be able to, like, vent this to somebody, because if you go like, what? That's crazy. You crazy. Like, that's also bad. So, like, what you're doing is giving people the outlet. And I've been having this problem. Lady thing. So I have this female friend who, like, this is a really hard thing for me, and I think it is for most men, to learn the lesson of, like, I just want to vent without help. Like, I don't want answers. Yeah. It's a very classic guy-girl dynamic thing that I struggle with so hard, because like I'm like I don't understand the concept of like I have a problem. Don't fix it though. Just let me talk about the thing. It's so like what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
so this whole thing feels like it's in that vein that like it gives people you give people an outlet at which to vent about that thing that everybody else is like, well, then do something, right? It's like with all the problems that are going on in the world. Okay, you don't like racists? Go to the protests, talk to your congressman, vote, all that stuff. You don't have a job? Get a new job. You don't like the virus? Wear your mask, wash your hands. Those are the solution answers. But there's a lot of people who just need you to say, this sucks right now.
Yeah.
This sucks. And that feels good to be able to just say it sucks without judgment. Because
Yeah.
everything comes with so much judgment now. If you decide to wear a mask, judgment. If you decide to not wear a mask, judgment. If you're unemployed, judgment. If you are employed, judgment. If you are fighting racism, judgment. If you're not fighting racism, judgment. Like it doesn't matter what you
That's
do.
one thing I'll say that's positive about me, Zero. I
Okay.
don't judge people like at all. I don't think.
Right.
I get passion. I speak as though I'm just. Hey, Senor Jalapenos. This is a person.
I love your interactions with chat because it's so like clearly your live streaming experience is so like it's like, oh, they waved. Oh, okay.
I'm supposed to wave. It's polite. If I don't wave back, that's like a dick move, right?
No, I mean it's not real life. It's a chat. You know, you could just see it and then go, okay, they waved at me.
Yeah, no, but it's like they're virtually waving. So if I don't wave back, it's like I gave him a middle finger. Senor Jalapenos, I just want to say I respect you and thank you for joining.
I don't. I think your means nothing to me. I've seen too many streams. Press the heart or get out. Okay. Go ahead.
No, but I think if I have a positive, I speak aggressively because that's just how I've been raised to speak, but I don't actually like, I don't actually feel any sort of judgment. I don't feel like I have the right to judge I don't feel like I have the right to judge anybody. And actually, you know what, Zero? I can give you a tip with your situation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are you actually having this problem right now of talking to this girl?
Oh, no, yes. We've been over it several times. It's not. I pretty much know the answer, but I am interested in your perspective. Maybe as a man, you can make it a clearer image to me. I understand it, like I just explained, is like they just need to get it off their chest. They just have to say it, all this stuff. And so I go like, yeah, I'll be the I sucks guy. It sucks guy. It's gonna feel weird and it's gonna be hard for me, but like it's fine.
What I
But
do, what's
yeah,
up?
long story short, yes, go ahead and tell me your advice.
So we're both long-winded people, but I think
True.
but I think because I've been talking to bitches my whole life, um, basically what I do, my strategy is if I'm talking to a woman and she's upset, all I do is ask questions like, oh, why is that? Where did that happen? When did this happen? And I don't say anything else. I just let them talk. And every time I feel the urge to give advice or be like, here's a screwdriver, use the screwdriver. Every time I'm about to do that, I'm like, whoa, wait, shut the fuck up. And let's just keep where this goes. I know you're gonna bleep the fuck in your head, but like that's what I just ask: why, who, when, where, how, which, and I just be quiet and let them keep going. And then eventually they'll stop talking. This makes me sound like I'm dismissing them.
I was just about to say, I'm like, okay, but then what happens in that weird gap where like eventually they've said all the facts, you can't go back through the fact of the questions, and then they do that thing like, and this is the part where you give me something.
Well, so when they're saying all that stuff, I am genuinely listening. So then when they get it all out, then I say, do you want my opinion?
Okay.
And then if they say, yes, I want your opinion, then I say all my opinion. But first, it's like, let them say every single thing. It's how actually I work with you on this podcast. I don't know if you notice.
I'm being manipulated.
I don't know if you notice it, but like I will be quiet for a very long time and let you just talk because I know that's how you speak. And then when it's done, I don't ask if you want my opinion because the whole podcast is inherently my opinion.
Yeah.
But with women, like I let them say everything they need to say. Then I ask them, do you want my opinion? And if they say no, which happens sometimes, I say, all right.
That's interesting. I was just about to say my counter idea is like, does anyone ever say no to that?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Women, if women, I've had women say, no, I just needed to vent. And then we go talk something else.
I never see that's how far out of my mind it is like I never imagined a no from which sounds so narcissistic. I never imagined somebody didn't want my opinion. I never imagined that if I ask, do you want my opinion, that you're not gonna say yes. But like
also don't need Aaron's opinion. Oh, George. Here's George.
Just gotta start answering no. You gotta wait for that silence. You always say yes. But
I think like people like I think because I woke up because I grew up with
a little thing. I don't know if you see the hearts on the side that are happening. They used to be colorful. Why are they gray? Because
my soul is like sucked out of all the color.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna need you to fix it because I miss the colors.
I think it's because I think there's certain hearts that you can press, and whoever it is pressing the gray hearts. Can you press another color?
Yeah. Can we? No, it's all gray.
I bet you that's George.
It's just doing more gray on purpose.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just a me thing. I miss the color. It was more fun when it was like colorful. I think.
Oh, yeah, that's George.
Okay.
They gray.
They gray. Okay.
No, I think because I can't. Oh shit. I guess Instagram understood how dour the world is now.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Are you still here? Good. I think because I grew up with women and especially abrasive women, I think like I understand that. I understand that, hey, red and pink hearts.
Thank you, Shelby.
But I think I understand the feeling of. I think because we're figuring each other out. Zero. Okay. In your house, were you allowed to talk?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Which also just that sentence alone. There are so many times that if you just took like bites of like things you say, you're like, that's all of it. They're like, do you have to say more than the sentence? Were you allowed to talk in your house?
So because my opinion was not valid, didn't matter, was if anything was like scolded, my genuine honest opinion, I just learned how to just be like, all right, I'm gonna just shut the fuck, fine, just talk. I'm not gonna say anything because you're not gonna listen to me regardless. Right. So I think now that I'm older, I've taken, it's like less of I don't take it personally. And with my mom, I do, but with women in general, I don't take it personally when they're just venting. Cause I understand like, this isn't me. This doesn't have anything to do with me. I just happen to be it's like you're playing, handball and I'm just a wall. You just want to play handball. You don't want the wall to like hit it to other angles. This metaphor is falling apart.
Okay, but I get what you're saying. See, that's right. Know your place, LOL.
All right.
Just
who
like
is this?
Shelby.
Shelby, listen, Shelby. I'll be quiet when you talk, but when it comes to fucking no.
No, but that makes sense because my family was very like
the wall.
Yeah, it's like. But that's the thing. The counter to that point is, my mom and them, until I reached a certain age, like they didn't. I don't know how your family was with this, but like everybody kind of kept everything to themselves. Like there were some stuff where it would kind of come out. Like things would come out. Things wouldn't be like, and here's what you gotta do, or here's this, and rant, rant, rant. It was just like, no, like, hey, you didn't do the dishes. You gotta do the dishes. I told you to do the dishes.
Oh, that
That's,
simple?
yeah, that's as much as it would be. And then I would feel bad because I didn't do the dishes, and then I would do the dishes and try to be better next time at doing the dishes. And
My
like,
mom would scream at me if I did not do it. And not like a it's been a week and the dishes haven't been done and they're piling up and falling over. It's like the dishes haven't been done and just immediately scream. There was no low volume.
huh. Yeah, see, my
Also,
mom didn't yell. She gave the stern talk where you could feel the fear behind
yeah.
it, where it's like oh, I could get a whooping later if I don't do this. Hopefully, she stops at the being mad at me and I don't get a whooping.
Yo, that's okay, two things. First thing is all of your family's from the South, right? Or you're the women that you grew up with.
The women I grew up with were born and raised Missouri. I think my grandma is from a part. I know our family reunions have happened in like Tennessee and Atlanta and all these places, and I don't know if that's because people moved or because like. So the short answer is mostly Missouri, so Midwest, and then a couple from the South. But I never grew up with any. Only my grandma and my aunt could possibly be from the South. All of the direct family members that I interacted with and raised me are born and raised Missouri.
Okay, that's the South to me. My point.
Okay. Out of California, just
Yes,
another flyover state. It might as well just be freaking blur out there. We got
yes,
nothing.
you got
All right.
cows. But
Yeah.
the point I was gonna make, the point I was gonna make was my family's from the East Coast, and
Okay.
so there's I think a different way of speaking. Like I'm loud. I have a really booming voice, and I think it's because that my family they spoke to me with this East Coast flavor, this like
Mhm.
loud, abrasive, blunt, in your face way of speaking. But
Yeah.
they're doing it in Southern California where people don't speak to each other that way. So
Right.
I think that's another difference in the way we were raised. And there was another thing that is now lost into the sands of
Uh-huh.
time.
Well, that
Uh,
happened. Well, as it helped, I was talking about like, yeah, how my mom would speak to me. It was like the fear behind it, whoopings.
oh, whoopings. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't see. I have a bit I'm working on about that. And the
Okay.
premise is I'm jealous of women who get beat. Like I'm
Hmm.
jealous of like Rihanna because she has proof to show people. She has receipts.
All right.
When you're screamed at, when it's mental and emotional,
Mhm.
there's no like you try to explain what's going on and you just sound like a crazy person. So my mom
Right.
never hit me ever because she was a social.
It's fascinating.
What?
Your mom's a social worker?
My mom was a social worker.
Holy gee, how's that not a bit? How's that?
It's
I mean,
about to be.
guess you're working on it, but
Yeah,
I find most. I mean, this is basic. I mean, you've heard it. Oh, it's comedy, but it's like the juxtaposition of things.
yeah,
That is like that's inherently funny, just because it's like she helps other kids and families, and then she comes home and yells at you
yeah,
in an extreme hyper way, which man, that rabbit hole must go so deep. Again,
yeah,
it's like I wonder. There's so many factors of like you being the reciprocal of her hate that it's like, is it a man thing? Is it a seeing all of the pain and suffering of the social work community? Is it her personal upbringing? Is it the multiples of all that you just happen to be there? Is it because you're an easy punching bag and you're just there? And at the time, as you were growing up, you couldn't fight back, and finally she had somebody, like maybe the world was beating on her, and now she finally has somebody to do that to. I don't know. I'd be fascinated to have not an episode, obviously, because I don't know if you could handle that, or I'd just be fast because you've also said that like she kind of puts on for when other people are around. So like I wouldn't see it, but like if I left, then you would deal with it later.
Yeah, kind of.
So I would be fascinated to see like you remember do you remember Hurt Bay?
No.
Okay, I think it's called Hurt Bay or Sauce Bay. It's called something Bay. Crazy. It's a now to be fair, it's a BuzzFeed piece from a while back.
You know, I just
And
realized
what?
I look completely naked.
Yes, yes, you do. But you have been for several episodes because you don't wear a shirt, and then you go and you put your shorts off screen, and so it's just a thing. Honestly, I'm playing it towards our female demographic and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, somebody's gonna like it." Anywho,
Shelby?
you into this? Is this hot or is
Is
this
this hot,
gross?
Shelby? Am I the
But
wall, Shelby? You're saying?
the I forgot what I was saying. Oh, in Hurt Bay or whatever Bay, right? In it, it's her sitting down across from a um, a dude she used to date, and they start talking, and you figure out that apparently they've had one of the most jacked up not super bad to the point where he's not physically abusing her, but like he did a lot of mental stuff, and like at first you're kind of like, man, that's jacked up, and she's very attractive, and he's okay, and like he's very much like it's so interesting to see the like people aren't gonna like it, but the like it's kind of her fault and she's a crazy and you can see behind it. Like she's saying all this stuff that he did to her, but you're like, yo, you didn't stop there. You didn't leave there. No, you stayed after that. And then you said, okay, this will keep going. And then he did another thing and you stayed after that. And so all of this being said, pretty weird workaround is I would like to get you across from your mom.
Not gonna happen.
Guys do like a talk like session and just to see it. Just the entertainment value for me personally, amazing. It's not anytime soon. Clearly, I feel like you have to be like really successful for your mom to respect you enough to even pretend to put herself in that spotlight. But by the time she wants to do that, I feel like she'll know what she's walking into because there's
Yeah.
no world this doesn't get covered in everything.
Two things. First thing, Shelby says, lol, now I got a man, lol, cat faces crying. Those are cat, right?
Those are cat cry laughing faces because
Cool.
I mean, whoever's making emoji knows their audience.
Yeah. Second thing is, I don't think she would ever have, no matter how famous, if anything, the more successful, the more fame that I would get to, the less likely. Because I think deep down she would know she would lose.
Ah, interesting. I don't disagree with you. That sounds in character from what you've told me, but I'd still be fascinated.
Oh yeah.
But
But yeah,
anywho,
she was a social worker. How often do you perform in Redlands? I made a text I made a text list. If you just DM me your phone number, I do a mass text every time I perform. Basically I don't know, Senor Jalapenos, do you know about the assault? Should we talk about that later?
I love, I love having to read usernames.
Yeah. Can you let me know? Message me whenever the lag ends here. But with yeah, no, she never hit me, never. And in a weird way, I would have rather that sometimes. Don't get me. I understand. Like I don't want. Grass is always greener. Because like there's a thing I can say, oh, I got a whooping. Oh, I was hit. Oh, I got thrown in a closet. Oh, I got beat with a hanger. When you tell people I was being yelled at, you sound like a fucking crazy person. You don't, it's so hard to describe when like you're a kid and the only way someone is speaking to you is through yelling and intimidation and fear and anxiety and put downs. you cannot word that to people in a way that they're, at least as a kid, you can't word it in a way that people will take seriously.
Yeah, which is very fascinating in another regard. Back to the whole juxtaposition thing. It's like I feel like she has to know that that's what she was doing,
She's
but like at
crazy.
the same time, she doesn't know that she's doing it because it's that like you work with kids, you work with other people who have kids, but you don't the basic concept of like, yeah, when you put nothing but negative stimuli on them, that they're gonna have certain things, and usually those things don't. Again, she kind of lucked out in a certain way that she got you, because she could have gotten like the dice roll of a kid who fights back, and like
That's
that does.
I have a theory about that.
Okay.
I think I told you this. I think that's like a mixture of my dad's DNA.
Mm,
That like if you were to meet my dad, you'd be shocked at how calm and like kind of quiet he is.
yeah.
And I think that there, when you see kids that are like split between their parents, my
Yeah.
dad, and this is not seeing me saying my dad's an angel, mind you, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, why didn't you ever go live with your dad? Or did it?
because I remember one time, ooh, get ready, this one's gonna get sad. I'm gonna do my best. I,
Okay.
I remember I was a kid. I can't remember how old I was, and I brought that up about I think seeing him more often or something. I was really young, and I remember my grandparents were there and my mom was there, and I remember my mom yelling at me about how, um, like if you don't appreciate what you have, or like if you want to just leave or something, it was like a, I can't remember the words exactly, but it was like this huge guilt trip of
Mm,
like the fact that you would, how dare you even bring that up.
right.
And I remember as a kid being like, oh, this wasn't worth, like there was no, it wasn't a negotiation. This was
Yeah.
it what I had over my entire life was the, um what is it? The presentation of an option. Does that make
Mm,
sense? Okay, cool. So like it was like, do you want to do your homework? Do you want to go outside and play? And
mm.
it was you're going to do your homework, but it was presented
Like,
as, yeah, as if I had options. And
right.
it was presented so angry and aggressive that it was like, oh, it is not worth bringing it up, because what's
Mm,
going to happen is I'm going to get screamed at. I'm
right.
not going to have a real option. And now I'm just made my day harder. So I'm just not going to say anything.
Right. Okay, that's fascinating. And to juxtapose you, that's not a word.
Yeah.
To counter that, because again, the ever echo that our life is, where yours is one way and mine is the opposite of that way. I had a moment with my mom where I had just had a weekend with my dad and his girl at the time, and I just came back and I had had a good time. And this is all from my mom. My mom told me this later. I don't remember this at all, but that's how much it affected her. She said that I said, I really liked being over there. Like, can I go stay with them? Can I go live with them? And she was like, I don't know. We'll see. Like, okay, like go wash up or whatever. And then I ran off, and then she went to her room and she cried. And like she was like, I
Sorry, I
just
shouldn't
thought
be laughing about that. That's just something about this.
she was just like she was like, was I thought I was a bad mom. I thought like, what did they do that I didn't do, like all this stuff. And like hearing that as like an adult freaking broke my heart, because I was like, no, I'm just a stupid little kid. I don't They probably gave me a freaking popsicle, and that was like the thing that I was about. Like, I didn't think about what it meant to be raised over there. It was just like I had fun that week. I came back to what I consider normal. And in normal world, I wasn't getting popsicles every day, but I thought over there I might. And so like I was just being stupid. And like it was like that juxtaposition of your mom is like that's where my brain wants to give your mom something and be like, well, she's sad and underneath all that hate. Like
Yeah.
underneath all that hate, she's sad that you would want to live with your father over her, but the only way she knows how to express it to you is anger. which is ironically why you want to stay with your father, but also does keep you in your place. It's that really weird thing.
And that's where that Eminem Headlights thing comes in, where you've listened to Eminem. You're a millennial, so you know you know that his mom's way worse than my mom, I'm sure. Clearly did a lot, and
out everything she did. Like
you what?
I've heard those songs. I still can't quite piece it together. I know she wasn't not abusive, but and I know there was something with stepdad.
It was bad.
It's like she would be gone a lot. Like there was a lot of different stuff. I have to piece together. I'm sure somebody has made a video like Eminem's relationship with his mom, and then
I've watched it. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Really bad. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I know that my mom. That's where I'm trying to move past, and that's why I think with the dream and my feelings, it's less anger now towards them, and it's more sadness. I just get sad. I'm like, this isn't going to change. You're not going to change. You're just not. And what's really annoying is when I say that around people, when I'm like, no, this is just kind of how she is. People are like, well, no, you have to be positive. You don't know. Well, and mom had Munchausen's syndrome. I spelled it wrong.
Eminem's mom had Munchausen's syndrome. I spelled it wrong.
Oh. That's like where you.
What in the world is Munchausen's syndrome?
I'll look that up. But while I'm looking that up, when I tell people, my entire life, when I would tell people, it's like anything, there was always this dismissive. I don't feel like typing this in. There was always this.
I assume it's some crazy mental stuff.
Yeah, there was always this dismissiveness. So if it was about eating, I would say no.
Sorry, the dogs are going off. I gotta figure out what this is about.
Well, I'm gonna look up the munch.
Yeah. Tell the people. Yeah.
Munchausen.
Going off about.
Oh, this is embarrassing. Fictitious disorder imposed on self, formerly Munchausen syndrome. It's a type of mental illness in which a person repeatedly acts as if he or she has a physical or mental disorder, when in truth he or she caused the symptoms. So that inherently means that they do have the disorder, but the disorder is saying that they have the disorder. That's a weird one. Do I do this to Zero a lot? I do this to Zero a lot, where I just leave and I leave him stuck with whoever's in the chat. Who is in the chat? It's just John. What's up? Talking about the Munchausen. Yeah, this is another very sad episode. I'm trying my best. I'm doing Zero. I think I'm doing my best.
You're doing great. You're doing.
I think I'm learning.
Yeah, yes. You said this was a sad episode. This is not at all our saddest episode. This is not at all. There are way darker, deeper episodes than this. This is actually pretty on the up and up, so we're fine.
Cool. That's where it's.
She also tells her kids they're sick so they don't leave her.
Yeah, that's horrifying. It's this dismissiveness that is frustrating. So when I would tell people hey, I'm a picky eater. No, thank you. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about here. Or if I'm like, hey, I'm black. Oh, you're not acting black. Oh, no, you're not. No, you're not like the others here. And it's like, my mom is doing this. Oh, no, you're being ridiculous. Oh, no. It's the dismissiveness that gets on my nerves. And to go full circle back to your friend, the females that want to vent, I get where they're coming from, because I'm like, no. I just want you to fucking listen to me for a second. Right. Just believe what the fuck I'm saying. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We got 9 minutes. You want to call this one and then maybe another?
I got a job I have to do after this, so I just know we don't have a set schedule. And you saw the new podcast schedule?
Yeah, yeah. And it's better to have these like super out early, or at least like for me to edit them with my current schedule, it's way better to do it like this. So I actually, again, I'm into it.
Cool. So we'll
Yeah,
just
and also
keep trying to
so
bank.
awesome that I happen to get a day off. But maybe like next day off, so I can tell my friend that I have that, because I'm also trying to hit a mic and like do this other thing. So but this was a good episode. I feel like we talked about some stuff. Went up, went down, went up, chilled out.
Yeah.
I got some black hearts now. It's you messing with me? Like, I assume it's good. But thank you those of you who stuck around in the chat. And actually we're here for the live like making of it. We appreciate you guys the most. But we also appreciate those of you who watch it later, because it means you took like 52 or some time that's ridiculous to listen to both of us talk out of your day. And so we appreciate you. For those of you who don't know, you can watch these episodes on the Buddy System Comedy page on YouTube under A to Z, or just go to Buddy System Comedy. You can find Aaron at Aaron Chase 91 and me at 0_KR anime. I also just recognized
Hey,
in
Paul.
my
I
the
feel bad,
last
man. We're
video.
actually ending the podcast right now.
Wow, that's great timing. I also just noticed that in the edit of episode 22, the one that's currently up, that I have our bubbles mixed up. Like I'm the bottom bubble next to Aaron Chase, and you're the top bubble next to Zero. But I guess you could also make the argument that I'm going up and down. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna tell the people. It's up and down. But
Okay.
regardless, thank you for listening. This has been a good episode. We appreciate you. Laters.